in this video we are going to be looking at the substance dualist conception of mind. And I'll begin with a key point summary. So, substance dualism believes that mind and body are distinct entities. The mind is immaterial or non-physical and can be known better than the body. It's a separate substance, hence substance dualism. The mind interacts with the body through the pineal gland, which is located somewhere towards the sort of back to the middle part of the brain. And the mind also is where consciousness is located, where qualia, key term there, where qualia is located. And qualia, as you'll know, is the what is it like of experience, the quality of the experience. And so substance dualism explains the problem of consciousness. In other words, it explains how it is that we have quality of experience. And this is generally a problem for physicalist theories of mind, i.e. theories of mind rather, that do not believe that mind and body are two separate substances, but rather believe that everything is physical, and we'll come on to them in other videos. So Descartes can be credited with having generated the mind-body problem. And according to Descartes, a human being is made of two distinct substances, the mind and the body. This dualistic conception of the human being is known as Cartesian or substance dualism. Anything that refers to Descartes is known as Cartesian, right? Because it was invented by Descartes. So Descartes believes that the essence of identity lies in a person's innermost self, the I, or the first person, the subject. Okay? And this is the I which he talks about in his second meditation. Okay, the same meditation in which, for example, he talks about the analogy of the wax. So the basic idea of Cartesian dualism rests on the idea that we are capable of identifying two simple substances in the world. The first of these is known as the res cogitans. The res cogitans is essentially a thinking thing and refers to the first person pronoun I. Right? This is the conscious mind, the mind that has qualia. The thinking thing is, according to Descartes, something that doubts, understands, affirms, denies, wills, refuses, imagines, feels, and thinks. It is the mind or the soul. Put another way, human minds, or soul, as Descartes was fond of referring to them, are to be identified uniquely by their thinking essences. Thus, the ability to think, the ability to reason, is required to recognize our own existence. It is this, Descartes believed, that is the special distinguishing feature of the mind. Think back to the first argument of the second meditations, for example. I think, therefore I am. Right? It is this thinking ability which separates human beings from purely mechanical bodies. And that's important. Indeed, Descartes believed that animals were machines, since he believed they didn't possess the distinguishing feature of thought or souls. He didn't think they had souls. He thought they were, in fact, organic machines. It is important to understand that for Descartes there is no separation between the ability to think and what we might describe as conscious experience. Conscious experience can be thought of as the quality of the experience. The what is it like to see the colour green, for instance. This what is it like of experience is known as qualia. We are talking about the kind of sensations we have when we see, hear, taste, smell, or touch. In other words, Descartes believed that having the experience of the colour green was identical with saying, this thing is green. An opposing suggestion might be that the experience of seeing something green can be distinguished from belief. I believe that the book is green is different from the experience of seeing the green book, though of course seeing it informs our belief. The second simple substance that Descartes identifies is res extensa, which means extended things. Things that occupy space. Anything physical is an extended thing, something with size and shape that exists in space. Indeed, it is a priori true, that is, true independent of experience, that if something possesses size and shape, it must exist in space. Descartes' view originates from a desire to find a single unitary system for describing all that happens in the world. Thus, there are only two kinds of substance in Descartes' system: res cogitans, the thinking thing, and res extensa, physical substance. And so this is why Descartes' position is known as substance dualism. The mind is the thinking thing, and everything else is physical extension. So your body is physical. So the problem for Descartes, however, is the question of how the mind and the extended world interact. Human beings on Descartes' model are composites of mind, which is immaterial, and matter, physical matter. Right? The mind interacts with the body, but the question is how. Right? So let's now look at some objections. The first and most major problem is how something apparently incorporeal, that is non-physical, can causally interact with something physical. It doesn't seem possible. Try to imagine something non-physical, if that's even coherent, causing something physical to move. So not only have we got this idea of how something immaterial might cause something physical to move, but is the idea of an immaterial substance in itself a coherent idea? Descartes obviously realised that humans had brains, but believed that the physical part of the brain was not the seat of thought. Rather, the brain was the product of a causal connection between the non-physical and physical. Now, part of the reason Descartes thought this was due to lack of scientific knowledge. There was virtually no neurological understanding at the time Descartes lived. Descartes may therefore have believed that the physical actions of the brain are the product of a non-physical cause rather than simultaneously their creator. Another, and perhaps more significant reason, is that Descartes' project of trying to find a solid foundation for knowledge, the only thing he could be certain of was that he was a thinking thing. Right? He might be wrong about the nature and origin of all of his thoughts, but he could not be wrong about the fact that when he was thinking, he was a thinking thing. Since one can be certain about the existence of thought, but not of physical reality, Descartes believed that it followed that the thinking thing, the mind, was separate from everything else. So you can see why he might have held this mind-body position. And what reinforced this view was the idea that we could discover the nature of things by attending to the resources of our own minds. In other words, Descartes adopted what is known as an internalist theory of knowledge, or a rationalist theory of knowledge, insofar as he believed that it was only the machinations of the mind, that is, the workings of the mind, that allowed for the possibility of knowledge. Okay, so as you'll know, rationalists believe that sense experience is unreliable and that all knowledge comes from the exercise of pure reason, which is an operation of the mind, and the thought that we are born with certain innate ideas. And I've done videos in epistemology on that. So a second problem comes from the way Descartes distinguishes human beings from all else. We, us humans, have thinking ability, which according to Descartes separates us from purely mechanical bodies, which he thinks includes other animals. So what seems to persuade Descartes that thought is something separate from the physical world is his belief that our thoughts are too complex for any kind of mechanical apparatus to achieve them. Put another way, Descartes' belief seems to be that activities such as responding appropriately to the complexities of speech in dialogue, poetry and so forth are so complicated that no mechanical device could accomplish them. Now, of course, that might be challenged by today's computer scientists. Now, these days we have that technological sophistication, and it's a technological sophistication that Descartes could never have dreamed of. Right. There is a third problem that we can think about in relation to substance dualism, and that's the problem of the ghost in the machine. And this is an idea that we'll come across again in a later video on behaviorism. So The Ghost in the Machine is an objection which was developed by Gilbert Ryle, and it centres on the idea that Descartes' conception of mind rests on what is known as a category mistake. A category mistake occurs when we use a term that belongs to one kind of category in ways that imply it belongs to another. And for this reason, it becomes the source of philosophical error. And here we have a quote from Gilbert Ryle. A foreigner visiting Oxford or Cambridge for the first time is shown a number of colleges, libraries, playing fields, museums, scientific departments, and administrative offices. He then asks, but where's the university? It then has to be explained to him that the university is not another collateral institution, some ulterior counterpart to the colleges, laboratories and offices which he has seen. The university is just the way in which all that he has already seen is organised. So, in this case, the tourist makes the mistake of believing the university to be a particular thing, as opposed to the ways in which libraries and laboratories are organised. All right, so the idea is that the university is another thing in the same way that libraries and laboratories are things. And similarly, Ryle argues the mental and physical are not two separate things, but rather two different ways of characterising and describing beings with psychological abilities. All right, and in this famous passage, he explains this idea. He says, now the dogma of the ghost in the machine does just this. It maintains that there exist both bodies and minds, that there occur physical processes and mental processes, that there are mechanical causes of incorporeal movements and mental causes of corporeal movements. So this third objection is quite complicated, but the important idea, this idea of the ghost in the machine, is the idea that we are labelling the mind as a thing in the same way that we might label a library as a thing, when in actual fact all we're doing is describing how our psychological capacities are organised. Can the mind-body problem be defended? Well, given the developments made in computer science and what we now know about the complexities of the brain, can anything be said in defence of Descartes' position? Apart from anything else, there is the interaction problem, the problem of non-physical substance interacting with physical substance. How can something non-physical affect change in something physical, and so on. Right? And as I said earlier, can one coherently maintain that non-physical entities exist? Now, some modern philosophers have suggested that we are in no better a position to understand the interaction between two physical objects than we are between a non-physical substance and a physical one. And if we are not in a position to understand the interaction between two physical objects, why should it be any different between a non-physical and physical object? Is there an example we can use to demonstrate that we may not understand the interaction between two physical objects as well as we think we do? Well, consider this. A complete explanation of a causal interaction of events of the same kind, so in other words, how one object causes another object to move, a complete explanation of a causal interaction of events of the same kind or substance may well be describable in terms of laws, the laws of physics for instance, but they are not by this means explicable. So one snooker ball causing another to move may be predictable, but that does not mean I understand how one affects the other. In other words, we can examine the laws we use for prediction, and we can also perhaps examine those laws and describe them with a further set of laws. However, none of that means that we have therefore explained and understood how one snooker ball affects the other. So that really concludes this video on Descartes. In the next video, I'll be looking at physicalist theories, and all of the theories that you need to know, bar substance dualism, are physicalist theories of mind.